The Department of Homeland Security didn't exist prior to the 9/11 attacks, and it's now the third largest cabinet department charged with the formidable task of securing the country from a variety of threats ranging from natural disasters to terrorism. Jeh Johnson, the department's fourth and current secretary, delivered a major address at the Wilson Center and then participated in a discussion with the center's director and president, Harman. That's the focus of this edition of Rewind.
When Secretary Johnson was first nominated, some didn't know what to expect, didn't know how, coming from the Defense Department, he would approach the broader Homeland Security mission. Well, today, a little more than a year later, no one would think twice about his leadership. Secretary Johnson has more than won the trust of Washington, of law enforcement around the country, and of his department staff. He's a rock star at this job. He's led DHS through stiff challenges focusing on major strategic priorities like cyber, addressing with compassion the child migrant crisis, and first and foremost, protecting the homeland against a very sophisticated terror threat. Even if we were to stop every foreign fighter, we're threatened by radicalization at home. Here, DHS operates in a challenging gray area where radical beliefs, which are protected by our Constitution, can become violent action, which is clearly a crime.
A year ago, I stood here and spelled out my vision for the Department of Homeland Security. I was then new to the job. Now, a year later, I'm here to provide a progress report on our efforts with the benefit of a year's experience. I said here a year ago, as long as I'm Secretary, counterterrorism will remain the cornerstone of the Department of Homeland Security's mission. 13 and a half years after 9/11, it's still a dangerous world. And in 2015, we must recognize that we have evolved to a new phase in the global terrorist threat. Our counterterrorism efforts also include continued vigilance in aviation security. Last summer, I directed that we enhance aviation security at overseas airports with flights directly to the United States. Several weeks ago, TSA made further enhancements, and we're reviewing whether more is necessary. We're taking steps to fix our broken immigration system. Some say we should have waited for Congress to act. Let's not forget that we did wait for years, and Congress did not act. The President continues to urge Congress to finish the job and pass a comprehensive bipartisan immigration bill. He is willing to work with any serious partner, Democrat, Republican, or Independent, who wants to fix the system. In the meantime, we must improve the system within our existing legal authorities. We did that, and the President announced the set of reforms on November 20th of last year. We need to make strides in cybersecurity. Through our National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center, or NCIC, DHS is responsible for assisting and sharing information with the private sector concerning cyber attacks and threats, and for securing the civilian.gov networks. I was pleased that last year, Congress provided bipartisan support for our efforts with the passage of legislation which codifies DHS's authority to assist the private sector, codifies DHS's authority to assist other federal agencies, and legislation to enhance DHS's ability to hire cyber talent. The Secret Service is the finest protection service in the world. No other agency of any government in the world could protect 135 world leaders all at once when they gather at the UN General Assembly. The Secret Service does this each year with great professionalism and without incident. However, recent events have highlighted the need for change. In October, I appointed an independent panel to take a hard look at the Secret Service. In December, the panel reported its findings back to me. Those recommendations were astute, thorough, and fair. A number of security enhancements have already been made and implemented by Acting Director Clancy.
Last year, you made news in your remarks by saying that Syria is a homeland security threat. You didn't mention Syria today, or Yemen, or some of these other places in the Middle East that are sadly subjected to failing governments. Is Syria still a homeland security threat?
The ability of terrorist organizations to reach into the homeland by use of the internet, by use of social media, the foreign fighter phenomenon, people traveling to Syria and other places to take up the fight there, linking up with extremists, and then returning back to their home countries with an extremist mission. That's what I was referring to then, and that's what I was talking about now.
Is the visa waiver program an Achilles heel, or are you taking safeguards to assure an anxious public here that it is not a loophole for these foreign fighters?
The visa waiver program is an important, valuable program. There are some out there who want to scrap it. I think that's a mistake. I do believe that there are security enhancements that have been made to the program, that can be made to the program. As I said in my remarks, we added additional data fields for information in the ESTA system. And each nation, or almost every nation, that is in our visa waiver program signs on to a set of security assurances. And I've asked my folks to take a hard look at whether we're monitoring that, whether there are additional things that we could ask for, whether they're being complied with, and that's under review right now.
For more information on security issues and a range of topics, visit wilsoncenter.org.